Skull and Crossbones, written by G.I. Joe Wyvern. Bridge, ESS Janai, Victron System. Shipmaster Fubensa couldn't help but be amazed every time he gazed upon the Vecton system. He technically wasn't getting a fully accurate picture. He was staring at a viewscreen representation of what the cameras were seeing. That was probably filtered slightly to be more aesthetic. But still, he liked it more than enough. Beautiful trinary stars, a dozen separate planets, and an awe-inspiring sight of Agro, one of the largest gas giants in the entire Hekatian Empire, looming near the designated hyperspace exit point.
Jump successful, Shipmaster. We're entirely within our assigned slot.
So, Fubensa glanced towards the pilot of the vessel, a young man whose name he couldn't recall. He was a good pilot, far too good to be managing freighters. Good work, pilot. Comes, any word from Vecton STC? They're ordering us to proceed to Agro, holding orbit 13. They're experiencing difficulties after a minor crash at Hekatian spaceport. Well then, pilot, take us in. The ship accelerated, its thrusters pushing it towards the gas giant of Agro. The view screens displayed little annotations detailing the many ships currently waiting for clearance to dock with their planned spaceport. They were far too distant and tiny to be visible to the naked eye, so the overlay helped avoid getting into the wrong holding orbit. Shipmaster, getting hailed by a military vessel, designation HFY. Military vessels this far out were uncommon. Not rare, but certainly uncommon. Probably an anti-piracy measure, Fubensa thought to himself. He'd heard rumors of an uptake in piracy, which was why their manifest now listed several dozen private military contractors, in addition to their regular cargo of gravity plating and military-grade reactors. Space warfare, at least between organized nations, was conducted solely in orbit of inhabited planets, anywhere else being effectively impossible to fight in. Any enemy with brains would obliterate a fleet with waves of ISFMs, crashing into the opponents at hyperspace speeds and annihilating them. That left planetary orbit as the place most vessels would congregate, banking on their opponents' reluctance to use ISFMs that may hit the planet they hoped to take intact. But the strategic planning left a large unmanaged area in each system, which pirates could jump upon vessels straight out of hyperspace, grab everything, and flee. On screen, Fubensa turned to face the central view screen, taking a moment to adjust his chair for maximum comfort. Greetings, UFS Hugurk. What do you need of us? Greetings, ESS Gnu. We will be performing an in-person inspection. Shut your engines down and prepare for boarding. The shipmaster on the view screen wore his vacuum suit perfectly, a note of pride visible in his stance, his helmet visible just in the center of the screen. That was the sign of a good shipmaster, one who knew exactly what the greatest threat in space was. Understood, sir. Can I ask why? Routine anti-smuggling inspection. You'll be written up if you ask any more questions. Shut your engines down. Shipmaster, the comms officer attempted to butt in, a truly terrible time. Not now, comms, Fubensa turned back to the screen. With all due respect, sir, we have been thoroughly inspected by officials at Acacia Central. We can transmit the confirmation codes in case you need them. That is irrelevant, Shipmaster. You are being written up for obstinance. Shut your engines down. Shipmaster, then, shut up, comms. EFS Hugurk, we refuse inspection. File a complaint with our company, if you wish. We will send you the details. We will hold you by force, then. Comms terminated. The shipmaster followed through on his promise, and feed cutting out. Comms, send the details and broadcast to the company. Tell them the Navy have Sir, they're pirates. What? I contacted STC. They said no military ships are in the area. They must have stolen a Navy ship somehow. Sir, Hugurk is firing plasma lancers. Their shields hit. They've dropped fast. All right, full power. Full power, comms. Tell STC we're under attack. They've just done a local jump. They're right on top of us. They're firing again. Missiles this time. Engine 2 offline. Engine 3 damaged. They're going to catch us. Right. Okay, security. Get our contractors ready to repel boarders. Prepare to dump cargo at an instant. Gravitational control. When everyone is at their stations, I want reserve gravity in all sections. And I want you to stand by for gravity switching. We need to delay them as much as we can. Gravity switching was a common anti-piracy trick, consisting of irregular changes to the gravity field generated. Put your opponents in zero gravity, then anti-gravity, then smash them to the floor, rinse and repeat. It could be lethal when done correctly. Can we do it, sir? Of course we can, pilot. Of course we can. But it will take effort. Airlock 3, ESS Genu.
They're in the airlock now. 10 attackers, standardized gear. Looks derived from our military equipment. These are professionals.
Onlika checked his tablet, watching the pirates coming through the airlock right next to him. He felt the sudden turn as the gravity was switched around, his mind briefly flashing in panic as he feared being flung about by anti-gravity, before he remembered his mag boots were still online.
That one at the back is definitely Hekatian. The rest don't look like Hekatians to me, though. Proportions are off.
Deniable ops by the Actonans? Onlika's fellow contractor was glancing over his shoulder before he returned to aiming his gun at the door. Shipmaster said there was a Hekatian in control of the ship. I've never heard of Actonans doing something like this either. They'd just blow us to bits and move on. Must be multinational pirates. These want the ship intact. The airlock door began flashing to signal it was being opened. Ready? The door opened rapidly. Onlika's plasma rifle snapped straight onto the entranceway, but no one came through. A small object was thrown through, falling upwards as the anti-gravity pushed it away from the floor. That was presumably a test by the boarders to prevent a nasty surprise when they came through. 4 objects followed, all of them cylindrical. They fell upwards, resting against the roof. Then in unison, they detonated, mixing to create a bright flash and a loud bang that stunned Onlika briefly.
Open fire,
Onlika shouted, pulling the trigger blindly as he waited for his regular vision to return. His hearing returned first, and he was treated to the auditory combination of bullets and plasma fire being dished out. Onlika tucked himself behind a deployable barricade, the corridor coming back into view. He could see his fellow contractor standing in the middle of the corridor, firing his plasma rifle. The company really doesn't know how to hire these days, Onlika thought before watching in horror as the contractor was hit by multiple plasma lances. Then a hail of bullets ripped into the armor, followed by a final lance to the head that killed him. Shit, no! Onlika looked over the barricade, finding the pirates firing from the airlock doorway. That was a smart move. Entering would have put them at risk of gravity flipping. Onlika considered his options before realizing there weren't really any. He let go of his rifle, it falling upwards, before crossing his hands on his shoulders, in the empire-wide symbol of surrender. Hands in the air! In the air! The lone Hekatian in the party shouted from the back of the airlock. In Hekatian. That was odd. Did the other pirates not have translators? The first pirate moved through the doorway, a small object in their hand that they clamped onto the roof of the corridor as they hit it, before then attaching their mag boots. The gravity was reversed at this point, but to zero effect. The pirate remaining secure upon the roof, several more pirates followed, repeating the same pattern for the floor.
Who are these strange pirates, and how were they able to do so well?
Bridge, ESS Genu. Fubinsa could see that it wasn't working. The attackers had done a thorough job seizing the majority of the ship. Their guns, weird contraptions that spat bullets from its barrel and fired plasma lances from part below the barrel, had cut through the outgunned and outnumbered private security effortlessly. Now they were closing in on the bridge. They tried everything, concentrating their guns in a great ambush position. The attackers bypassed it and attacked from behind. Then, while they refocused on the threat from behind, attacked from the front, crushing their opponents in a pincer. Venting atmosphere hadn't made a difference. They pushed on regardless. Well, there was one thing they hadn't tried, the absolute last resort, short of literal suicide. He reached for the button that allowed him to transmit shipwide. This is Shipmaster Fubinsa addressing the attackers. We surrender. We lay down our arms. The bridge door will be unlocked. Do not hurt us, please. Fubinsa turned to face the rest of his crew, all of them having resignation on their faces. Better escape with our lives than die pointlessly. We cannot stop them, so we must let them take what they want. The company will understand we did what we could.
Of course, Shipmaster.
The security commander opened the door to the bridge. The first pirate came through a mere minute later, dressed in what looked very similar body armor of a Hekatian soldier, but with a helmet he'd never seen before. Several more similarly dressed pirates followed in, pointing their guns at the crew. Which of you is the shipmaster? One of the pirates asked the assaulted crew members. Rubinson noted that his helmet was an authentic Navy-issue, fully sealed space warfare model. Were Hekatian soldiers fighting alongside these pirates? I am the shipmaster. Are you the commander of the pirates? There was a brief pause as they looked towards another pirate. No, I am merely translating the words of the commander, as he does not speak Hekatian. We are also not pirates. The Hekatian Stellar Imperium has declared war upon the people of Earth, and therefore we are attacking the ships of the Imperium. It is what these humans call fair game. Earth. Humans. Rubinson hadn't heard of humans before. They couldn't have been a nation the Imperium was bordering. What do they want with us? Are you stealing our cargo? We don't have anything of value, just some regular gravity plating and reactors. There are far better targets than us. These things are of immense value to humanity, so yes, we'll take your cargo. You will be taken to Earth, where we will strip your cargo and keep you as prisoners until the conflict is resolved. Do you understand? Why would any spacefaring nation consider such things valuable? Any fool could produce gravity plating in mass. It was easy. Unless were these the rumored primitives that the Imperium had failed to integrate and supposedly been repulsed by? I suppose I do, but we don't know where this place is. That's fine. We're in charge of the ship now. The translator looked towards one of the other soldiers, staring at him for a while. Rubinson assumed that they were having a conversation about something. The commander says that he has a specific message for you. He says, and I quote, "For you, Rubinson, the war is over." He tells me he has always wanted to say this. I would like to thank our T5 members and patrons, Casper Arnholtz, John Creighton, Vidmori, 050, Dragzoon WRE, and Elijah Silvercross. Thank you very much.